Level 1. $12.14. You already know the number before you check. That's the first sign. Somewhere between the drive-thru and the gas station, your body started doing the math your mind didn't want to. 12.14. You know it, the way you know a bruise is there before you touch it. The card reader blinks red. Declined. Not loud, just a small mechanical sound, and a cashier who's seen this before, who doesn't look at you, who says, "No worries, too fast," in the voice people use when they're trying not to make it worse. You step aside. You let the next person go. You do the thing where you pretend to check your phone so your hands have somewhere to be. Later, at home, you open the banking app. $12.14. The app doesn't know what today cost you. It just shows the number, flat, the same font it would use for $1 million. That's the first cruelty of banking. It never apologizes for what it tells you. You call the bank about an overdraft fee, $35 for being $17 short. The hold music is cheerful. The representative reads from a script, and somewhere in the reading, you hear the practiced patience of someone paid to be patient with people like you. "I understand that's frustrating," she says. She does not sound like she understands. You do not ask her to waive the fee. You already know the answer. You've heard it before in that same tone from a different representative about a different $17. Rule. At the bottom, money isn't a resource. It's a verdict delivered daily by people who don't know your name. Level 2. $340. $340 feels like breathing room until you do the math on what's coming. Rent in 6 days. Half a car payment. A number that looks solid until you multiply it by everything it owes. You've started keeping two mental balances, the one on the screen and the real one, the one after subtraction, the one that actually tells you what you have. At the bank, you ask about a small loan, $400, just to bridge 2 weeks. The loan officer is polite. He types for a while. He says the word "unfortunately" the way people say it when they've already decided. Your account activity shows some volatility, he says, which is a kind way of saying, "We've seen your balance hit single digits, and we remember." You leave with a pamphlet about a secured credit card. You do not open it in the parking lot. You open it 3 weeks later at 2 a.m. because curiosity outlasts pride. Rule. At $340, the bank isn't rejecting your request, it's remembering your history. And history moves slower than need. Level 3. $2,800. $2,800 is the first number that lets you sleep through the night without checking your phone at 3 a.m. It's not freedom, it's the absence of one specific fear. You open a savings account. The banker, a different one, younger, still learning the script, is friendlier this time. Not warm, friendlier. There's a difference, and you've learned to feel it in your chest before your brain names it. She asks about your goals. You say, emergency fund, and she nods like this is the correct answer, which it is, because she's been trained to recognize the sentence people say right before they become customers worth keeping. You get approved for a credit card, not a good one, but a real one, with your name embossed on it, and for a week you carry it like evidence. Rule. At $2,800, you stop being a liability and start being a maybe. The system doesn't trust you yet, it just stops actively doubting you. Level 4. $15,000. At $15,000, something shifts that has nothing to do with the number itself. It's the first amount that could disappear and you'd survive it. That single fact changes how you hold your shoulders in a bank lobby. You open an investment account, nothing dramatic, an index fund. A decision made from 3 articles and a nervous phone call. The advisor spends 20 minutes with you. He's patient in a way that feels genuine, or genuine enough. He explains compound interest like it's a secret he's letting you in on. You get a pre-approved letter for a credit limit increase. You didn't ask for it, it just arrived, like the bank had been watching quietly and decided on its own that you'd earned an upgrade you hadn't requested. For the first time, a stranger in a suit calls you sir or ma'am before you've said a single word about money. Rule: at $15,000, the world starts extending trust before you ask for it. That is the exact moment most people mistake for arriving. Level 5. $60,000. $60,000 buys you a different kind of phone call. When you call the bank now, you're not routed through the general line. There's a number on the back of your card that connects faster to someone who already has your file open before you finish saying your name. You're offered a relationship manager. The phrase itself is new to you, the idea that a bank could have a relationship with you rather than a transaction history. A friend asks to borrow money. Not much, $600. You say yes before you finish doing the math, because for the first time, the math doesn't scare you. You notice the ease of the yes more than the money itself. You also notice something else. People ask you for financial advice now, not because you're wealthy, because you're stable, and stability reads as expertise to people who don't have it yet. Rule: at $60,000, you're not rich, you're just far enough from the edge that people start mistaking your calm for wisdom. Level 6. $250,000. At $250,000, the bank stops sending you to a branch and starts sending someone to you. A private banker calls to check in, not because something's wrong, but because that's the service tier now. Attention unprompted is the product. You're invited to something, a dinner, a seminar, a wealth strategy session. The language has changed, softened, dressed up in words like strategy and legacy, words that assume you're already thinking in decades. A cousin asks for a small favor, $5,000. You say yes, but something in you calculates it differently now. Not, can I afford this, but what does saying yes cost me in how this person sees me from now on? You start hiding your balance from people you love, not out of shame, out of a new, quieter fear, the fear of being needed for the wrong reasons. Rule: at $250,000, money stops being about survival and starts being about distance, how far you are now from the people who used to be your peers. Level 7. $1,200,000. At $1.2 million, the phrase "your money" stops meaning cash and starts meaning an entire architecture, accounts, entities, a person whose literal job is to think about your money so you don't have to. Your banker no longer asks what your goals are. He tells you what your peers are doing in careful, deniable language, the kind of language used by people paid to suggest without ever being blamed for the suggestion. You get invited to things you didn't apply for: a private dinner, a golf outing with men who talk about you in the third person while you're standing there, sizing you up the way people size up new furniture. Where does this piece fit in the room? You notice that no one apologizes to you anymore. Not the bank, not the hostess at the restaurant, not the man who was supposed to call at 9 and called at 9:15. Apology, it turns out, is a service extended to people who might complain. Rule: at $1.2 million, you stop being managed and start being managed for. The apologies disappear because the system has stopped worrying about losing you. Level 8. $5 million.
At $5 million, your name starts appearing on lists you didn't sign up for. Donor lists, invitation lists, lists compiled by people whose entire job is knowing who has money before that money has told anyone. The private bank doesn't wait for you to call. They call you first, quarterly, with an update on things you didn't know you owned pieces of. You realize you have become, in some rooms, a discussion, not a person who walks in, but a number that walks in wearing a person. A distant relative reaches out after 11 years of silence. You know within the first sentence. You've learned to hear the shape of a favor before it's finished forming. You start being polite to people in a new way, not warmer, but more careful. The way you'd handle something breakable, you no longer fully trust yourself around. Rule: at $5 million, people stop asking you things directly. They ask around you, hoping the money will hear it before you do.
Level 9, $12 million. At $12 million, you check your phone at a restaurant out of habit, the same habit from $12.14. Except now, the number on the screen means nothing in the moment it takes to read it. The reflex remains. The fear it used to trigger is gone. You remember the overdraft call, $35, a scripted apology, a stranger's rehearsed patience. Now, a different call comes in, a wealth manager, gentle, deferential, asking not if you can afford something, but how you'd like something structured. At dinner, your card doesn't decline. It never even reaches the table. Someone else's does, quietly, before yours is offered, because at this tier, paying in front of you has become its own kind of transaction, a bid for proximity. You think briefly of the cashier who once said, "No worries, too fast." You wonder if she remembers you. You know with total certainty that you remember her. The number on the screen is different. The reflex to check it is exactly the same. That's the part nobody warns you about. The fear doesn't disappear when the money arrives. It just runs out of reasons. Rule: the number changes everything except the part of you that's still afraid to look. That part, it turns out, was never about the money at all.